Okay, knowing me, I probably give this episode some super clickbaity title like the evening and morning routine that changed my life. Obviously hyperbolic, but I have been a lot more intentional about my evening and morning routine, and it has improved my mental health more than I care to admit. So here's what I've accepted about my depression. 9 times out of 10, the thing that will get me out of a depressive episode or like prevent me from falling into a downward spiral is having a really productive day where I managed to achieve most of the things I wanted to get done. But a huge part of that is starting my day off on the right foot. So waking up at a reasonable time, not scrolling for an hour before getting out of bed. And a huge part of that is not sleeping too late, making sure I get enough hours of high quality sleep. But I am, by nature, a chronic night owl, and I've accepted that if left to my own devices, I will stay up way too freaking late. So if I really want to fix my sleep schedule, it comes down to those few hours between dinner and bedtime and taking really intentional steps to wind down and prioritize getting rest for the next day versus trying to get as many things done as possible before I go to sleep. Honestly, the changes I made to my morning and evening routine are really small. It's kind of silly, but it has had a disproportionate effect on improving my mental health because a solid sleep schedule and routine will really improve like your energy and your productivity. And that in turn improves your self-perception. It changes the narrative you tell yourself about, who you are, what you're capable of, whether you're on top of your shit. And that in turn will really improve your like overall mental health. So I'm just going to go in chronological order, and we're going to start with, I guess, like early evening, basically after dinner or after you get home for the day. I don't know if any of you can relate to this, but a lot of the times when I stay up really late, it's because I get caught in this cycle where I need to like get up, do my pre-sleep routine, wash my face, but I've waited too long and I'm so exhausted that I can't get up to do it. But then because I can't get up to do it, I can't go to sleep. And then I get caught like doom scrolling or procrastinating, not even because I want to, but because I just feel like too tired to do my evening routine. So a small change I've made is instead of waiting until right before I go to bed to like take off my makeup, I pretty much do as much of my pre-sleep routine as I can as soon as I get home. Like obviously I'm not going to brush my teeth at 8 p.m., but everything else like taking off makeup, skincare, I try and do earlier so that I have like as few what is it called? I was going to say barriers to entry, but it's like barriers to entry to your bed. Just so I have like as little resistance as possible when it actually does come time to go to bed. And one kind of added unexpected benefit of me taking my makeup off earlier in the day is I actually use my sheet masks. I don't know if you've noticed in my vlogs recently, but you can see me using them. I've just collected quite a few over time from like PR gifting and like from my friends, and I always buy them when I'm in Korea because they're cheaper, and I don't use them. And it's not because I don't want to, I really enjoy it, but like if I'm taking my makeup off right before I go to sleep, like I don't have that extra 15 to 30 minutes when I'm supposed to like just leave the sheet mask on my face. I can't lie. I mean, I know they work because the Koreans wouldn't be so obsessed if they didn't work. But I just think because it's become like the face of self-care commoditized by capitalism, I was like, it's just a piece of paper soaked in products that I already have. Like, how is it different from just using the skincare products I have? But you know what? It's not the same. And it's not even how my face feels right after I use it, because that's kind of like no shit. But the way my face feels the next morning, like truly moisturized from the inside out. Okay, that was a bit of a tangent. I've been using sheet masks. Cool. That's not like single-handedly changing my life. But the other thing that I have been trying to do earlier in the evening is clean my room. I have this thing where like if I wake up in the morning and my room is messy, like there's like random shit on my bed and there's like stuff on the floor, I think it just like really, it makes me feel overwhelmed. It makes me feel like I'm already fighting a losing battle and I already like don't have my shit together for the day. And it genuinely, if I don't know, ran the numbers, I think waking up to a messy room makes me get out of bed maybe like 20 to 30 minutes later than I would otherwise. And so I do try and clean my room before I go to sleep. But the problem is I will start cleaning my room like right before I go to bed. So it'll already be like 2 a.m. And I'm like, let me just like tidy up my room before I go to sleep. And I mean, those of you out there who have peer diagnosed me with ADHD are going to be laughing when you hear this. But when I try to clean my room, I get distracted and suddenly I decide that I need to like reorganize my entire purse collection, or I need to reorganize my clothing rack, or I need to like vacuum my entire floor. It never is as simple as like a room tidying, and it's so common that it's like legit 3 a.m. and I've decided to undertake some huge non-urgent reorging task, and I was like, we need to stop doing that. And so I have also started cleaning my room earlier in the evening, and obviously like I try my best to make it a more perfunctory clean versus like a deep clean. And for some reason, this is what I mean by like cleaning my room. I don't mean like doing a deep clean. I'm not deep cleaning my room every day, but what I'm kind of referring to right now is those like what you do as soon as you get in the door, or as soon as you come into your room after dinner. And I think this is a pretty universal experience, especially if you've been out for a long day. You come in, you're like overstimulated, you're like a little bit cold, or you're a little bit hot, depending on the weather outside. And you just kind of like throw your coat and your purse on the floor, and then you like slump into, a chair or a sofa or a bed and just start scrolling on your phone because you just like want a moment to recover. That is so fair and so normal. But I think as someone who really struggles with task switching, I can easily get stuck, not even doom scrolling. Like sometimes I'll start like editing something on my phone, but I will get stuck and suddenly the hours just go by and I feel behind and my whole evening is a mess. And I find that if I just overcome the urge to sit down as soon as I come in, like just change into my sweats, like put my purse away, hang my coat so there's not like shit all over my room, and just kind of like get everything together and set up before I start any kind of new task, even if the task is just like scrolling on Instagram, that has like a huge, what is this called? Domino effect on how like the next 12 hours of my life go. Because if I'm just like intentional, it starts to set me up to like actually, not go to bed at 4 a.m. And this is going to sound really counterintuitive, but the reason that I know this works is because my sleep schedule the past few days has been absolute dog shit. And it's because I've fallen off the train of being intentional about the first 15 minutes after I get home. I've been like succumbing to the urge to just lie down and go on my phone. And it is actually like derailed everything. Like going to bed so late and then like waking up late, feeling behind on all my work. Also like my energy level is just being really, really slow. I mean, yes, slow, but also low, because instead of sleeping like the 7 to 8 hours that I was sleeping literally earlier this week, I'm now sleeping like 5 to 6 hours. And now that I've like really taken the time to reflect, I can like pinpoint that like moment after I got home and how it just led everything to falling apart. But the good news is now I know how to get back on the train, or get on the train, get off the train, get off the train that's going the wrong way and get on the, you know what, fuck the train analogy. Okay, so I've like semi-cleaned my room and I've taken off my makeup and I put on my sheet mask. The other things that I do also contribute to kind of like setting up a pre-sleep vibe. First thing I really like to do is light a candle, and I would love to know if you guys have candle recommendations because I tend to struggle with this. I just think the way they smell when they're burning is so drastically different from how they smell when they're not burning. So, for example, for those of you who are consuming this in a video format, let me show you what's on my desk right now. This is not a candle, but this is a jade coaster that I got from Cerie. They're my favorite jade jewelry brand. I think if you've watched literally more than like one video of mine on this channel, you've probably heard me talk about them. But they also have this coaster, which I think is like so chic. Anyway, on top of that, I have this Tom Ford fucking fabulous candle. And I will say aesthetically, I love this candle because the wax is also black. Like it just has that really clean minimalist aesthetic. And I love how it looks perched on top of this little jade coaster thing. But oh my gosh, guys, when I first opened this candle from the box, I was like, what the fuck is that disgusting smell? No disrespect to my guy, Tom Ford. It smelled like actively not bad, like it smelled rank, but it was like this really just like heavy, like think like that guy, you know, who wears way too much cologne. Like that was the vibe it was giving. And I put it in, I have like these bags in my closet with like PR that I don't want, and I let my friends go through it, and then whatever they don't take, I try and donate to women's shelters. But this was like in one of those bags, right? But then I ran out of all the candles that I, like the other candles that I had, and I was like, ugh. And so I went digging in there because I was like, maybe it deserves a second chance. And then I tried burning it, and I actually love the way it smells when it burns. But you can't like test burn candles. I don't know. Sorry, this is like not related to anything. I do like to light a candle though, like just for vibes and obviously fragrance. Oh, and another candle situation that I added literally 2 days ago. This is a candle from my favorite fragrance brand, Lore, another brand that I mention all the time in my videos, gorgeous packaging. But I just found out that their little perfume cap actually doubles as a candle holder, and just like look how sleek and chic that looks. And this candle isn't just a plain candle. This is a candle with their, I think this is their Lovely and a Little Twisted scent, which you see me wearing all the time in my videos. And it's obviously a bit of a fire hazard. Like I wouldn't leave this unattended in my room, but I love how this candle smells when it burns. So I've also set this up on my desk. And then in case I haven't spoken about scents enough, I also have a desk perfume. I really have to acknowledge my privilege here. I get gifted a ton of like full-sized fragrances, and so I'm not like paying for a lot of these, so I don't have to be as precious with how I use them. But I will say, even before I was a creator and I was like paying for my own fragrances, it's hard to get through a full-sized one unless you're like dousing yourself in it multiple times a day. And so I've really gotten in the habit of using certain perfumes as kind of like a room spray. And this is a new one from Orabella. It's called Jasmine Blues. This is Bella Hadid's fragrance brand. I can't lie, I hate this packaging because it doesn't sit up. It just like lies on your desk and it takes up so much space, and I don't think it's like that cute either, but it smells so good. My childhood home, the backyard, had this like huge wall of jasmine. So it's such a nostalgic scent for me. Like I would open the back screen door and just get hit with this waft of the jasmine scent. And this smells exactly like that. There are some aquatic notes to it that make it a little bit more fresh, so it's not just like sickly floral. But yeah, I have been loving this as my spring desk scent. I do rotate my fragrances for the different seasons just because, I don't know, it's like nice to establish a mood. And there is something to be said about scents and associations. So I like to associate a specific scent with my desk or a specific scent with my bed. And so this is, I mean, I do wear it out sometimes, like as a normal perfume, but this has really become my designated desk scent. If it seems like I have a lot of scents going on, it is because my nose like adjusts to scents really quickly. So if I burn a candle in my room, I will only smell it for like the first few minutes. And then if I leave my room and I come back in, I'll be like, oh, I smell that. But yeah, my nose like acclimates super quickly. So if I want to repeatedly smell something, I kind of have to like keep spraying it. By the way, I will have all the products I mentioned linked in the description, but I really don't want you to feel like this is a product rec, like consumerism type of video, because I'm not someone where like new objects and like owning a lot of things brings me joy. I actually think having fewer things usually makes me happier, but I do really enjoy like hearing creators I follow just talk about things they've been liking. And, you know, if I feel compelled to buy it, I can, but I'm not like trying to push product. I don't know. I like to talk about things I've been loving and why I love them. And I feel like other people like to listen to that. I am going on kind of crazy tangents. The next part of my desk ambiance setup won't come as a shock to you. My tea. I literally have a full-sized tea kettle at my desk. and I have like a little tea coaster. Let me show you. This guy right here, it was like 15 bucks on Amazon. I do kind of want to get a candle warmer instead because I just found out, if you don't know, there are these like kind of warm lamp things that will warm a candle instead of burning it. And so A, it makes your candle last longer while still getting the effect of like the scent. And B, you're not dealing with like the fumes from an open flame. But I recently found out that those can also double as like a mug warmer. And I would much prefer like a cute aesthetic candle slash mug warmer versus having this clunky thing at my desk. But I do really struggle. This is something my Bay Area roommate, Haruka, used to clown me for all the time. I will pour boiling water in. It'll be too hot to drink. I will forget about it. By the time I find it, it's cold. And I just rinse and repeat. So this is nice because it keeps my mug a specific temperature so that I can like keep sipping on my tea instead of just constantly steeping and then throwing away my tea. And obviously you want to be drinking a caffeine-free tea if it's like in the evening. This is one that I really like. It's the Celestial Seasonings Honey Vanilla Chamomile. And I don't think it tastes that much like vanilla because that actually sounds kind of gross. But it has like the herbalness of chamomile, but I think the sweetness, I don't know. I just really what word was I about to say? Really freaking love this one. I got like the Celestial Seasonings Sleepy Time variety set, and this was like my favorite one in there, so I just got more of it. Apparently spearmint tea is also supposed to be really good for hormonal acne. I used to drink that mostly for the taste. Honestly, I just like mint teas. And I've been trying to get more into loose leaf tea. I asked for it for the holidays, so I have like quite a bit that my friends gave me. But I need y'all's recommendation for like a tea steeping thing, because right now I have that little wire mesh ball just because that was like the first thing that got recommended to me when I looked it up. But it like pisses me off. The closure is like not tight enough, and like some of the finer grains of the tea will still come out and like be in the water, which is gross. And it's like a dangling submerged ball in the liquid. So when I want to like restock it, I have to like really get my hands in there. I don't know. I am very open to suggestions on this. I have seen the ones that like are more of a rod where you kind of like load it and you don't have to like dig your hands into the water, if that makes sense. So I might order one of those. I don't know. To my fellow tea enthusiasts out there, like let me know how you guys steep your loose leaf tea, because I mean, unsurprisingly, there's like a lot of microplastics in tea bags, and microplastics are a bit unavoidable, but like with the amount of tea that I drink, I think maybe that might not be that good for me. But yeah, honestly, I don't even care that much about the specific tea. I think drinking a warm liquid is just kind of like a pre-sleep, warm you up, wind you down kind of thing. Kind of like how they feed babies like warm milk. Is that a thing? Did I make that up? Okay, all this ambiance stuff aside though, the most important thing is not, the 12 cents I have going on at my desk. It's being very strict with myself about what I'm allowed to work on before I go to bed. So like I mentioned earlier, I am really bad at task switching. And so I've had to accept the fact that like I cannot start a large undertaking. Like I'll tell myself, oh, I'll just work on it for an hour, but I don't do that. And so I try to save the evening hours for like, doing random tasks or like finishing things up or like editing short form videos. But I really try to just focus on picking up loose ends and not starting a new project, because I will start and not stop. I don't know, once I enter flow state, it's like actually impossible to pull me out. And I think for too many years, I've like told myself this narrative that like, oh, I'm most productive at night. And so when I lock in, I'm kind of like, oh, it's impossible for me to lock in during the day. Like I can only access this level of focus at night, so I might as well take advantage of it. And then suddenly it's like 4 a.m. and everything is fucked, Something that has really helped though is, even if I don't like do these large undertakings, really trying to organize my thoughts. Because something I do struggle with is lying down for bed and then suddenly thinking of like a million different video ideas, or, thinking of all the things that I need to film, and that will stress me out and just like really wake my brain up. So I really try and make a lot of lists. Like I have like a running notes app that has all my video ideas. I have a running notes app with all the specific things that I need to like film, and I try and put them in order of like how soon I should do it, the kind of like time urgency, just like things like that that make you feel more organized and more on top of things without like actually completing huge tasks. And I often find that I feel like deeply, deeply overwhelmed. And then once I actually write everything down, I'm like, oh, that's not as bad as it felt when it was just one big angry cloud in my brain. Oh, and the last thing that has helped me go to bed at a reasonable time, I almost don't want to admit because it's actually so silly. Basically, I got a Lofty alarm clock recently because I helped them host like a little beginner crochet course in person. They're doing this series called Wind Down Wednesdays, where it's like, you know, crafting, journaling, just like more relaxing activities with smaller groups. Anyway, because I taught that course, they gifted me a Lofty alarm clock. And I have to be so honest, like it is just a plastic clock and it retails for I think like almost $200. A lot of it is the aesthetic. I really love how it looks on my little nightstand. It's so cute. Technically, is it worth that price? No. And would I have paid that price for it? Absolutely not. But now that I have it, you can set this like wind down alarm where the alarm clock will go off to kind of like remind you it's time to go to bed. I have mine set for midnight. I do think I should maybe like move it up to more like 11:30 p.m. And it sounds so silly that me having to get up from my desk and go hit a button on this alarm clock at midnight has helped. I hate to report it has actually helped. I think it's the physicality and like the tactile nature of it. Like I think if it was just turning off a like alarm for midnight on my phone, I'd be like fucking whatever, right? But the fact that I have to stop what I'm doing and like physically stand up and walk, and when I say walk, it's like literally 5 to 10 feet, but it does like take me out of my flow enough to just be present and go, it is midnight. Like whatever I'm doing right now, is it realistic to finish it? Like the other things that I was hoping to get done tonight, is that realistically going to get done? If not, that is okay. But it is midnight. And that means that I'm giving myself maybe like 30 minutes, an hour tops to get into bed. What can we really do in the next hour? So yeah, that's how I kind of spend like the hours between dinner and bedtime. I do think that's the most important. The next, I don't know, like window is what you actually do right before bed, like when you physically get into bed. One thing I'm finally utilizing for the first time, I don't know if you guys will remember, but in the background of my videos, you can see that right above my nightstand, I have a little cute wall lamp from IKEA. It has like a little pull cord and it's like separate lighting from my ceiling light, which is quite bright. And it's such a small change, but I've started turning my like ceiling light off and turning the bedside lamp on because it's much more ambient lighting, it's darker, and I do think it really signals to my body that it's time to sleep. Like it makes it much less likely that I'm going to stay up for hours even after I've already gotten into bed. I think my body is like very reactive to light. Like in high school when they used to turn off the lights and do PowerPoint presentations, I was like, dude, there's no freaking way I'm staying awake right now. Honestly, a lot of like fancy restaurants that do like ambient lighting, I'm like, it's too ambient. I don't even feel like eating anymore because I just want to go to bed. And so I used to be like very resistant to ambient lighting for that reason. I'm like, dude, this just makes me want to sleep. Also because I knit and crochet, sometimes with ambient lighting, it's like you can't see well enough. But now I'm like, okay, yes, it makes you want to go to sleep, but maybe we should actually take advantage of that. This is another thing that might sound silly. I have home sweats that I wear like at home, and then I have separate PJs. Maybe that's not silly. I don't really know like what the standard is around that. For me, it's a more practical thing because I get really hot when I sleep. So I like to wear like comfortable, decently warm sweats when I'm sitting at my desk working, but I have to wear like almost nothing when I go to sleep. And I just got 2 new PJ sets from Blue Bella. They were gifted for transparency, but they're like these little lace camisole and shorts sets. I've always wanted one of those. And I have definitely already dedicated like 5 minutes of one of my YouTube videos to raving about my freaking Brooklinen sheets. Basically, I used to have these Amazon sheets. I didn't think it would be worth it to invest in nicer quality ones. And if we're being completely honest, a huge reason that I invested in the Brooklinen sheets was because they came out with this new like light blue and white pinstripe colorway that was exactly what I wanted. And I knew it would look so cute with my brown headboard. I wasn't that motivated by like the quality of their fabrics, even though I really should have been. I am here to report that it does make a difference. And in general, I need to get better at being willing to make investments in things that will actually improve my quality of life, because it turns out I'm not going through menopause with my insane night sweats. Like, I would literally wake up in the middle of the night and be so soaked in sweat that I thought I had pissed myself. And that's gross, A. B, I'm like, I gotta shower. C, I gotta wash my bedding. And D, it's the middle of the night and I am awake instead of asleep. And ever since I got these sheets, they're equally as warm, but they're just so much more breathable. If anything, I will like wake up in the morning and be like, oh, maybe there's a light sweat because the sun has come out and it's really bright in my room. But I'm not like waking up in the middle of the night drenched. And well, now I know this is a problem I really could have solved a long time ago. Honestly, the best way to talk about what I do in bed before I go to sleep is to just talk through what's on my nightstand. So the first thing, once again, showing you, for those of you consuming via video, this is the Prada Infusion de Rose. You're probably like, bitch, how many scents are you gonna mention in this video? I really love fragrances, and I've been particularly passionate about them recently. So if you want a video of me talking about my favorite fragrances, I would love to do that. I'm just like, is that silly? Because I'm describing something that like you can't smell. Anyway, like I said, I tried to rotate my scents for the season, and this is my spring, what do they call it? Like linen spray. I really love roses. I love the scent of roses, but I really struggled to find rose-based perfumes because I think it can very easily lean like grandma potpourri vibes. But this also has notes of neroli, mandarin, and galbanum. Don't know what the fuck that is, but it's more light and fresh. Okay, here's how I would describe it. Imagine the scent you get from like a gust of wind coming to you from a rose garden, just like a waft of that rose scent versus the kind of like sickeningly sweet scent when you like stick your nose in a rose. It just feels very fresh to me, and I do use it as a perfume. I don't know how much I want to smell like this, but I really enjoy it as like a spray for my bedding. So I spray it on my bedding before I get into bed. It's so nice to like get into my sheets. And I kid you not, like when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I clock is the smell of roses. And that's a really nice way to be welcomed to consciousness. The other two things on my bedside table are both Laneige products. And this one is the Laneige Bouncy and Firm Sleeping Mask. Maybe I'm not following the right people. I have never heard anyone talk about this product. And to be fair, I only tried it because I got it in like gifting from them. But this is my second one. I completely emptied the first one, especially because I've been doing my skincare earlier. I will say one like side perk of that is that my skincare actually has time to absorb before I stick my face on the pillow. I am a side sleeper, so I think when I used to do my skincare right before bed, I'd put on like a million layers and then I would just like rub it all over my pillowcase. But now my skin, when I go to bed, it's like hydrated. It has the products, but it could use like a little top up of moisture. And it has a collagen complex in it, I'm pretty sure. The Bouncy and Firm name is so apt. It's a very light texture. This is like really nice for putting on and having it absorb pretty quickly before you do put your face in the pillow. And if I apply this before I go to bed, I wake up in the morning actually feeling my skin be not just like more moisturized, but more like my skin elasticity is better. It truly feels like so plump. I freaking love this product. And then the other product I have is the Laneige Lip Sleeping Mask. I've actually had a lot of people, both online and my friends in real life, ask for my opinion on this because I think people either like rave about it or think it's extremely overhyped. I have actually not really used it. I used to use the CosRX one, and that one wasn't bad. I really loved the Tatcha one. It's like a lip jelly mask. I don't love the jelly formula. Like I prefer when something's a little bit thicker just because I feel like it stays on my lips better while I'm sleeping. But that one really did work. And this one, if you look at it, you're probably thinking, girl, you've used that exactly one time. I've used it 2 times. Thank you very much. Before this, I was using the Laneige lip balm. It'll be linked. I actually don't remember specifically what lip product it is. It's definitely just supposed to be used like a normal lip balm chapstick type thing, but I find that if I apply it before I go to sleep, it really has the same effect as like an overnight lip mask. I've realized this is slowly becoming more of a show and tell than a crochet with me. I've literally stopped crocheting. But the other new component of my morning evening routine is the 5-minute journal. Here's what I'll say. I got gifted this at some brand event and I just started using it because I have it. If I were to choose one for myself, there's this other creator named Grace, actually. I think her handle is Journal by Moon. I love her. She's so beautiful, has such a calming, kind energy, and her content, like obviously she gives product recs, but it's so refreshing to have creators whose platform is based more on like spirituality or like self-care or like things that aren't just consumerism. Anyway, she has a journal. I think it's called the AM journal. And I think that one you only do in the morning, which I would prefer because I famously am trying to get to bed as soon as possible. And I think it's a little bit less structured than this one. Like I think if I were to finish this one, I would want to get the AM journal next because it's a little bit more suited to my needs. You should check it out. But this one I have not been doing for very long. And I actually think a huge point of it is like being really diligent about doing it every night and every morning. And that's great. But something I've accepted about myself is that I am not going to pick up new habits if I don't give myself some grace. So like as a double Virgo, I'm not good at like not leaning in, like ramping or like gradually getting into things. I'm very all or nothing. So if I say I'm going to start journaling before bed, I'm like expecting myself to like write a fucking essay every single night before I go to sleep. And then obviously like I don't end up maintaining this habit. So with this journal, the reason I've been able to kind of keep up with it is because I have given myself so much leeway. Like if I do end up accidentally staying up really late, I just won't do it. If I'm like out with my friends and I don't get home until 1 a.m., like I'm not going to force myself to write in the journal. It's just better to do this maybe like 3 to 4 days a week than to beat myself up for not doing it every day and then not doing it at all, you know? Oh, I forgot. I was going to read you the prompts inside. You would think that I have them memorized by now. I clearly haven't been doing this for very long. For the morning, you have I am grateful for, and then 3 things. Then you have what would make today great, 3 things, and then a daily affirmation. This is good. I don't know. I do think, like, I wish they weren't putting the numbers because I feel like thinking of 3 things you're grateful for every morning, it is just going to get very repetitive. What would make today great? I do really like that prompt. But again, like 3 things. I just feel like when you put like a 1, 2, 3, my inclination is to put 3 things that I want to get done that day, which is good to have, but I separately like to list like the things I want to do for the day. And I don't think that's really the point of this journal. The daily affirmation I do really like though, because I think I don't think I have negative self-talk in that I don't think highly of myself, but I think I have negative self-talk and that I'm very hard on myself. And so I can often, you know, feed myself a narrative that like I'm not working hard enough, or like my time management is bad, or I'm like so behind on work. And so forcing myself to have a positive daily affirmation is really good for me. And then for the evening, there are 1, 2, 3 highlights of the day. And then what did I learn today? The highlights are really cute. Like that, I think is easier for me than trying to just like think of something I'm grateful for every morning, because that's not really like day specific. And the what did I learn today? That one I kind of struggle with. Like, I'm not learning something new every day. All right, the show and tell is continuing. This is the FAQ 202 light therapy mask from Foreo. To be transparent, this was gifted to me. I have done brand deals with them in my YouTube videos and will continue to because I genuinely love this thing. And this is different from the usual light therapy masks you see because those typically only have a red light, and red light is good for like anti-aging, but this one has 8 different wavelengths and the different colors all have different skincare benefits. So I have noticed the fine lines for sure being reduced after using it every single day for almost a year, but I also feel like it helps even out my skin tone, helps like minimize pores, reduce redness. Like realistically, if I hadn't gotten this in gifting, would I have bitten the bullet to purchase it myself? Probably not, but it's one of those things where now that I've tried it, if I don't know, it got stolen, I would actually pay the money to repurchase it because I do think it's worth it. I am just slowly learning to invest in things when it makes sense. Like I said, I don't love shopping. Like I've never understood the concept of retail therapy. I don't generally feel that objects bring me that much joy. But like the Brooklyn bedding, there are some things that you're just using all the time where even if it's kind of like a high price in the beginning, the cost per use is so low and like the value add you get over time makes it really worth it. And so I just don't think it feels as crazy as like buying a really expensive skincare product that you know is going to run out. Like you're just going to use it every day for the rest of your life. And if you use it for a year, 2 years, 3 years, the cost per use is quickly going to become like almost zero. I will say there's one thing I do that is kind of fake news. I always show myself in my vlogs using the light therapy mask and then crocheting on a day-to-day basis. I actually use it when I'm on my phone. And this is like a very random, unexpected side effect of this product that has weirdly been like really useful. It's kind of like my pre-bed scrolling timer. I'm sure, well, maybe not, but I feel like most people in this generation have had the experience of just wanting to do like a relaxation pre-bed scroll and then accidentally scrolling for like multiple hours. And sometimes I feel like I do that because I'm trying to like avoid thoughts I have in my brain, or I'm just like depressed or not in a good state and I just like don't want to be present in my mind. But sometimes you just like genuinely lose track of time. And so with this mask, it like Bluetooth connects to your phone. So I like to just set up like a 15-minute treatment. And once the mask turns off, I know it's been 15 minutes and my pre-bed scrolling time is done. And it's kind of like my alarm clock, like letting me know it's midnight. There's just something about like making sure you keep track of time. And while I can't lie, I do scroll before bed. I find that a kind of good alternative is like listening to an audiobook, because I don't think you necessarily want to scroll. You just want like a wind down activity that like is a form of relaxation. And I think obviously not staring at blue light is a lot better right before bed. And the audiobooks I listen to, I have to be careful. I can't listen to like a super exciting one because then I will get addicted and not go to sleep. But like recently I just finished this biography of Hamilton. I forgot the author's name. Ron something. I mean, the book is just called Hamilton, and it's the biography that the musical Hamilton was based off of. I haven't seen that either. I just randomly decided to listen to it because I was like, I feel like I should start like learning something from the books I listen to. That shit was long as fuck. I will say it was like decently interesting, like definitely not like mind-numbingly boring biography, but also not like, you know, super spicy, exciting, plot-driven. So like a book like that is good because it's interesting enough that I will like pay attention to it and not zone out. But I'm not going to be like, oh shit, I don't want to go to sleep because I want to find out what happened next during the American Revolutionary War. So I just think it's like a better wind down thing. I try and like leave my scrolling to 15 minutes. And if I still don't feel ready to like go to bed, I'll just like lie down, close my eyes, listen to an audiobook. Overall though, it's obviously best to, you know, not have like some form of content lulling you to sleep and to just like lie down and go to bed. And I used to think that it's like hard for me to fall asleep if I'm not sleep deprived. I'm like, oh, I'm just so used to being extremely tired that when I am getting enough sleep, it's hard for me to go to bed. I fear that's been debunked recently. Well, not super recently. Like I mentioned, my sleep schedule the past few days, not good. But there was like a good 1 to 2 week period where I was like sleeping at a really consistent time. And again, this is like not stating a new discovery. It's just like a truth that I guess I was refusing to accept. A regular sleep schedule is really, really good for you. And I find that if I'm sleeping and waking up at the same time every day, I have no trouble sleeping and I have no trouble waking up. Like, I was waking up literally maybe like 5 to 10 minutes before my alarm is supposed to go off because I had such good regularity. The other thing I hate to admit is that like the hours when you get your sleep matter as well. I used to just be like, oh, as long as I get like whatever, 7+ hours. But I do think trying to match like the diurnal cycles of like when the sun is out, it just does make sense for your body. So, you know, trying to sleep earlier and wake up not when the sun rises, but closer to when the sun rises. If you do struggle with sleeping though, I would really try not to take melatonin. I really only take that if I'm like jet lagged, like in different time zones, and I like really have to force myself to sleep at like a completely insane hour. But I prefer to take magnesium. I don't really take that now either, but that's like more of a relaxant. I think anytime I struggle to sleep, it's usually because my mind is like way too loud. It's not so much like a physical thing. Like usually my body feels very tired, but my brain is really loud. So the solution isn't so much like something biological, so much as like I was saying earlier, actually doing like setting up the hours before I sleep so I'm winding down instead of being like really locked into a task and thinking about 200 different things and being stressed and having all this stuff going on in my brain and then expecting myself to lie down and immediately fall asleep. Like obviously that's not going to happen. All right, enough about my pre-sleep routine. Now we're going to talk about the morning. I don't have as much to say here. I also recognize like the way I'm talking about this comes from like a huge place of privilege because I am a freelance employee, like I am my own boss. So I mean, that's kind of why this is more important because no one is forcing me to get out of bed in the morning and that's why I struggle with it. But obviously, if you are like your standard person with a normal job, you don't have the luxury of sleeping in. You're gonna have to get out of bed. So some of this stuff is like a little bit more how I specifically get out of bed because I don't have to. Anyway, we are gonna have to talk about the clock again because once again, there is something about a tactile alarm clock. It has its own like sound effects. Obviously, you can change the alarm tones on your iPhone. I think it's like a little bit convoluted, but it is possible. But I swear I have like such a visceral negative association with every Apple ringtone at this point. It is just so nice to have different sounds. And theirs are all much more like nature relaxing versus like the obnoxious ass sounds that Apple has. There is just something about the physicality of like not getting out of bed, but like leaning out of bed to physically turn off an alarm clock versus look at your phone. And I think this has been so helpful because before when my alarm was on my phone, like waking up, or I guess like turning my alarm off immediately flowed into phone time. And I'm not above morning scrolling, like scrolling first thing in the morning. Okay. Like I know some people like immediately go to journaling. Sorry. I would love to be that girl. I'm not that girl. But what I have been doing is at least like brushing my teeth and everything before I get on my phone. So like I turn off my physical alarm clock. And this is another thing that like sounds so silly, but actually works. I tell myself that I can get up, brush my teeth, and then get back into bed. But once I'm out of bed, like once I stand up, the likelihood that I'm going to get back into bed and go back to sleep is like not as high. I don't know. Something about like starting the day can feel really daunting. So I legit tell myself, just go brush your teeth so your mouth feels clean and then you can sleep more if you want to. Again, coming from a place of privilege because everyone else, you're just gonna like have to get the fuck up because you have a job. It's just dumb because like why is telling myself this like white lie so effective? But it kind of is. So yeah, I go and brush my teeth. Then I come back and go on my phone. I mean, ideally I try to do my journal and then go on my phone, but sometimes I get curious, so I open my phone. I do think going on my phone is a little bit more of a black hole for me than it is for other people. Like you see all those work emails, and in my case work is on social media, so just like everything's on my freaking phone. That also means that I can easily start working on my phone. Like I feel like back when I was working at Goldman, like I would obviously check my phone and have my work emails on there, but if I actually wanted to start getting anything done, I would have to like wake up and go to a computer. While it's nice that I can work on my phone for sure, I often fall into this trap of just like immediately starting to like edit videos and post stories and like just get my day started when I haven't even like sat up in bed. So yeah, I do try and do my journal first. If I don't, and if I do go on my phone, I really try to like not start any tasks. The way that like this video is just me talking about like never starting tasks, you're probably like, dude, when does she actually get anything done? But yeah, what I really try and do before I start anything is figure out what I want to do for the day. Sometimes I will actually like list this out the night before, but if not, I will look at the weather because my schedule is like very dependent on the weather. Like if it's a sunny day, I'm like, okay, how many different things can we try and film today? Versus if it's rainy, I'm like, okay, like what should we edit? What is like some computer work we can do? And so similar to like me winding down for bed, I just try and like organize the tasks and not start them until I am like fully up and ready for the day. Oh, and something that I have not been doing so well on, well, I've never been doing well on it, but something that I failed to improve on is drinking water. And something that I've been trying to do is fill up my Stanley with liquid IV the night before, like before I go to bed. I'm obviously not drinking it like after I brush my teeth, but I freaking love liquid IV. It tastes so good to me. I usually get the sugar-free variety pack and I get the caffeine version. It has like natural caffeine. I don't drink those that often and definitely not first thing in the morning. I just like to have them on hand. But the sugar-free one, specifically lemon lime and green grape, it makes me excited to sit up and like reach for my Stanley and immediately start drinking water. And so I've actually kind of been like positioning liquid IV as like my first water consumption for the day because it makes me excited. It reminds me that water consumption is a thing. And then once I finish like my liquid IV, I'll just start like refilling it with normal water. But I think it's just like more compelling and like a better reminder for me than like normal water because that I just like don't feel inclined to reach for. And I don't know, it's just like really, I feel motivated to sit up in bed if I have this like yummy beverage that's like nice and cold waiting for me. The rest of my morning routine I feel like is very dependent on the day because if it's like a day where I'm gonna go out and shoot content, I'm kind of going straight into like doing my makeup routine versus if it's like a computer work day, then I'm obviously just like gonna sit and like respond to emails and stuff. I have been using 2 products pretty consistently in the morning, and these are separate from my morning skincare routine. I do that in the bathroom. These are like desk products. I have so much stuff on my desk, but it's because I spend like almost all of my time here. So I've been loving these Beauty of Joseon Revive under eye patches. I use their under eye retinol. It's like pretty much the only one I use because it's really great for sensitive skin, but it's still super effective. And I love these under eye patches. First off, the seal on it is like really tight. So they actually stay like super moisturized. I've definitely had some where as I get towards the bottom of the container, they're like not seeming too wet. They're like a bit dried out. And I don't know if you can really see, but they are quite large. I don't like under eye patches that are really skinny because I have huge eye bags. So I need like maximum coverage in this area. And then this Cocoa Kind Calming Magnesium Mist, this is actually empty. I used up the whole thing. I freaking love this product and I feel very validated because the founder, Priscilla, amazing Asian owned business. She also went to Penn, so she went to the same school as me. And she was posting about how this is going to be out of stock because it's just like completely outperforming their estimates. So I feel like a lot of people really love this product. If you're familiar with the De Alba Truffle Spray Serum, it's like a super popular product in Korea. That is like also a facial mist. I think the Anua one is really popular as well. And these are becoming really popular because they're great for like skin prep, but you can also spray them over makeup. Like they're good for when your makeup gets a bit crusty and you just want to like give it a fine mist of hydration and to maybe like try and blend out some dry patches. And so I feel like I've been seeing that type of product released by like every single brand. I do love the De Alba one. This is a little bit different. This is a calming magnesium mist. So this is really good for calming your skin. Like if it's a bit irritated, if you have acne prone skin, if you deal with like redness or like irritation, this is really great for that. It's good for, here it says barrier support, clarifies, refreshes. And so I prefer this one a little bit. But yeah, I use this throughout the day. Like I sometimes use it as skin prep for my makeup. If I have time, I'll use it over makeup. And if I'm just feeling like really, I don't know, sleepy, like I've been sitting at my desk for hours, this is just a little pick me up. If I were still in the office, I would definitely have this at my desk. And I'm trying to think, I think that's everything in terms of like things that I'm doing regularly in my routines. I feel like I ended up talking about a lot of products. I just want to reiterate the fact that like this is really not about the products and more about analyzing your own tendencies, your own routines, and figuring out small changes you can make. Because if you told me like how I spend the first 15 to 20 minutes after I get home was gonna affect like my life for the next 2 to 3 days, I wouldn't believe you. But now that I've thought about it, and now that I have lived out doing one thing versus doing what I usually do, and then going back to the thing that I usually do and having my sleep schedule fall apart, I'm like, oh, this actually does make a big difference. So I don't know how much of this will apply to you. I feel like everyone is really different, although I do think a lot of people who follow me, a lot of fiber artists, are maybe a little neurospicy, maybe dealing with varying degrees of ADHD, so some of this stuff might be pretty relatable. If you have any advice for routine, going to sleep, waking up, things like that, definitely let me know in the comments. Also, I realize my project has been barely visible during this video, but I'm working on a crochet scrunchie, if you're wondering what's been hiding behind this microphone. As always, thank you so much for listening / watching, and I will see y'all next month. Bye guys!
You left the kitchen